Hey there, fellow real estate agents. I'm Brian Moses, founder of Real Estate Training Breakthroughs, customized coaching and seminars, and real estate coach and trainer to many of North America's most successful agents. If you've been following me at all, you probably know that many of the agents I coach sell more than 100 homes annually. Some of the teams that I work with sell 5, 6, and 700 homes a year, making millions and millions of dollars in commission income. And as great as that sounds, what I'm most proud of is that the quality of lives that these agents live. You know, they're husbands and wives, moms and dads, they have children, and there's a lot more to life than income and selling lots of homes. It's the freedom that those sales and that income produces that I'm most proud of. So what I'm going to do in today's real estate tip video is I'm going to give you some insights on how to become more effective, more strategic, and optimize the results that you currently are getting. You know, we've all had the horrific experience of going on an appointment and finding out we didn't get the listing, $10,000 flushed right down the tubes. So I've become obsessed over the years in creating systems and processes for everything. And I have a system and process for setting myself up for success to get the listing. And I have a system and a process for getting the listing when I'm at the house. So the first one is qualifying the seller. When you book the appointment, there's a series of 14 or 15 qualifying questions that I ask to set myself up for success. I'll give you a couple of examples. I want to make sure that both husband and wife are going to be there. I don't use words like, well, will both decision makers be there? I'm very, very strategic in how I do that. So for example, I'll ask, is the property in your name individually, jointly, with another person, or in a trust? Oh no, my wife Janet and I own the property. Great, will they be available when we meet? No, I'm handling it. That's perfectly fine. Is there a time that we could do this where Janet would be available? She doesn't need to sit through the whole appointment, but many times your spouse has a different perspective that can add to the value of your home. You know, sometimes you see things a certain way and she sees things a different way, and both add value. So is there time that we could meet with Janet so that we could get her input? That's an example of a qualifying question. Another example is, are you speaking with other agents? Wouldn't you like to know that the seller is talking to someone else before you got there? So I was asked, are you speaking with anyone else? And do you mind if I ask whom? I'm just curious. When are you meeting with them? If they're meeting with them over a period of time, I would like to be last. So here's how I set that up. I have a huge favor to ask Mr. Seller, if that's okay. I'd like to schedule myself to be last because I want to show you everything we do over and above all the other agents to get you the best price for your home. We do a lot of things very differently, and they really stand out after you've met with the other agents. If you haven't met with the other agents, they don't really stand out as much. So is there a time after your meeting with the last agent that we could schedule ourselves? And I book myself to be last. Here's another great question in qualifying. Tell me a little bit about your home, bedrooms, baths, any renovations or improvements. But here's the magic, folks. What have you enjoyed most about your home? And they go, well, you know, I really love my tomato garden in the backyard. Fantastic. In addition to your tomato garden, what do you think prospective buyers would enjoy most about your home? Well, they really like our billiard room. So whatever the answer is, that's how I'm going to build rapport. I have lost listings before, stupidly, because I didn't take the time to ask them what they liked most about their house. And then I didn't make a big deal out of it, and they picked somebody else who coincidentally made a big deal out of the thing that I didn't. So every time I lost a listing, I would go back to the drawing board. Please understand, this is a compilation of 25 years and thousands of listing appointment experiences to put into a system and process that you can duplicate and follow. Now, when I get to the seller's house, I want to confirm that I am in fact last. So I go, hey folks, it's great to meet you. I'm Brian. I'm eager to see your home and have you show me around. Who's going to give me the tour? So they give me the tour. And then I go, hey, you mentioned you were speaking with company A, company B, company C. How did it go with those other agents? And they go, it went great. Now, if it went great, I say, were you able to meet with all three? Yep, I met with all three. Now I've confirmed that I'm last. But I don't want them to make a conscious or subconscious connection in their head that their previous meetings were great. Do you? That would be horrible. I don't want them to think that those meetings were great, because in reality, they probably weren't. So in the tour of the home, I go, hey, you mentioned that those meetings went well. Those meetings went fine. Specifically, was there anything that those agents said or showed you that blew you away, knocked your socks off, or was just, oh my God, super impressive? No, I mean, they were pretty good, but nothing stood out. You're kidding me. So now, without disparaging the competition, I can pretty much eliminate the competition. I don't want any association that my competitors were good or certainly not great. But watch this. Here's where the magic happens. I go, hey, I'm curious. Was there anything that those agents said that upset you, disappointed you, or frustrated you? Yeah, actually there was. Tell me about it. Well, they said that we got to change the carpets and we got to put all our stuff in storage. Now, even if I agree with that assessment, I say, you're kidding me. Folks, the goal is to get the listing. You guys want to get paid for what you do, right? You don't want to work for free. So don't make recommendations before you are hired. That is an absolute no-no. So I go on, and now I've done a great job, hopefully, of eliminating the competition. I then manage expectations, and I say something to this effect. Hey, folks, generally when I meet with sellers, they want to cover three things. There's three very important facets of this meeting that they want to discuss. One is the price. I imagine you guys want to know what is going on in the market. The market sets the price. You and I don't control it. The market's always changing. I brought some market data with me. I brought some materials that talk about when the best times to sell are. I'll go over that with you, but since you and I don't have any control over that, I figured we'd go over that last, okay? So now, because the number one thing the seller wants is to know how much their home is worth, I'm gonna cover it last. The second is timing. You know, what's the right time to sell your home? Is there a better time? If this wasn't a good time to sell your home, you'd want me to tell you, right? There are factors that influence timing that include absorption rates, supply and demand, current interest rates. So said differently, how timing affects the sale of your property and, more importantly, your pocketbook, we need to take a look at that. Does that make sense? So we'll cover timing. And then the third has to do with supply and demand, Mr. Seller. And the single greatest factor that can increase the price of your home is the demand that you get. So what I want to do is start with that. How do you increase the demand? The greatest way to increase the demand on your home is the agent that you select. All real estate agents have a license, but that's where the similarity ends. And because it's the most important single factor in getting the best price for your home, I figured we'd cover that first. Is that okay? And then I continue. And then I go on and I talk about a few benefits. And then after I've gone through my benefits that should differentiate me massively from anybody who was there before me, I say this. It's a transition. It's a trial close. Are you folks starting to see that all real estate agents aren't the same? Are you comfortable with my qualifications and my skills, or would you like to hear more? Generally, they go, wow, you've been great. If they go, would like to hear more, I give them a couple more benefits that show them how we increase the demand on their home. Then I go, is it okay if we move on to pricing now? I don't tell them, I ask them. I'm engaging them. Early on in my career, one of the biggest mistakes that I made is I would just present, and they'd get glossed over. I now do a much better job of engaging them, of including them. So I go through pricing. All of this, by the way, is transcribed for you. And if you would like a copy of my qualifying questions and my listing presentation transcribed word for word from the moment I hang up the phone with them, qualifying them, to the moment that I walk in the door and walk out with the listing, it's all written. All you have to do is read it and study it, make it your own. Then I transition from pricing to a net sheet. Okay, a net sheet's a very important transition because they don't know what the sales price means. There's a lot of expenses when they sell their home. So I say, hey, based on the current market and the price that we've identified at the top of the market, let's see what that means to you. And I pull out a net sheet, which I'll throw in as another gift. So you're going to get 3 downloads for free. No obligation, never have to call me, never have to work with us. But how awesome would it be to model and use the exact same listing process that I used to list thousands of homes in my career? Success leaves clues. So I do the net sheet, and then I walk into the transition to securing the listing. So it's all available for you folks. I've gone over my allotted time, but I hope you found this helpful. And just press on the button below, and it'll tell you how to download and get my qualifying questions, my complete listing presentation, and the net sheet. Have a great day. Bye-bye.